Today I fucked up by getting too drunk to remember anything about the girl I was going home with. This was a couple of years ago. After a particularly heavy night out at uni, I went home with a girl who'd I'd met in the club. We were obviously both extremely drunk and I don't really remember how I started talking to her or anything that was said between us, or anything about her at all. Not even her name. But soon enough we were in a taxi and going home. She still lived on campus and was more comfortable going to her place, so we did. She lived in typical uni accommodation that was basically just a long hallway of identical rooms. Fast forward to a few hours later, probably around 4 a.m. and we've both been passed out for a little while. I woke up and desperately needed the toilet. She didn't have an en-suite so I headed out into the hallway and found the bathroom a few doors down. I probably should have got dressed into more than just my bright orange boxers before going out into a building full of strangers, but I'm not very smart so I didn't. I sat on the toilet for a little while and the room was spinning a lot because I was still smashed. Not sure how long I was there because I think I semi-passed out again, but eventually I got up and left the bathroom. This is basically where I realized I'd fucked up and started to panic. I looked up and down the hall at about 20 identical bedroom doors, and had absolutely no idea whatsoever which one was hers. I suddenly became painfully aware of the fact I was almost naked. For about 30 seconds I was kinda in denial and kept telling myself that if I think hard enough then there must be a way out of this situation. Obviously I quickly realized there wasn't one, so I took a guess at one door that I thought was vaguely in the area I'd come from. A girl in a dressing gown answered the door looking extremely confused and a little scared at finding a stranger in his underwear knocking on her door at 4 a.m. So I quickly apologized profusely, and basically begged for some help finding the room I had come out of. Luckily she saw the funny side of it and was super friendly, so she said she was happy to help and asked what the name of the girl I had come home with was. I didn't know what her name was, so I had to apologize profusely again for being such a scummy idiot that I didn't even know the name of the girl I had gone to bed with. Again she luckily saw the funny side of it and said it happens to the best of us, just tell me her hair color and I should be able to narrow it down from there. I couldn't even remember her hair color. I had a vague feeling that it was a dark color so I said that, and she said oh okay I know who that will have been, and knocked on a door a few down from her own. Another confused and worried girl answered the door and asked her friend why the hell are you knocking on my door at 4 a.m. and who is this almost naked boy. We basically repeated the process again and the new girl said she knew who had been out tonight and almost certain which one of them would be the type to have come home with someone so clearly stupid as me, so she knocked on another door. Another random person answered the door. I wish I could say this went on even longer for comedic effect but this last girl did actually know which girl I had come home with because they were friends, so finally she knocked on the correct door. The girl I had come home with answered the door and was very confused as to why I was out in the hallway with 3 of her friends, but they all quickly saw the funny side and had a good laugh about it while I just snuck back into her bed and buried my head in the pillow for a while. I still cringe when I think about it now. Thankfully I was so drunk at the time because if I hadn't been I probably would have just died of embarrassment. Too long did not read. Got drunk and went home with a girl, forgot which room was hers and got locked out in the hallway almost naked. Had to try 4 different doors before finding her. That girl who helped you sounds like a godsend. Oh, you must be with Sarah. She brings some drunken bloke back to her room every other night. Here's her door. Goodnight. But did you ever figure out her name? In college I took a road trip with some friends and we started drinking about noon while playing stickball. This flowed into a party later and we all got wrecked. I hooked up with a young lady and went back to her place. After having some fun we both fell asleep naked in her bed. This is all very hazy, but I got up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom and got lost in the hallway naked. I finally found the room, or so I thought. I hopped back in bed with her and cuddled up to her. Except, it was her housemate whose boyfriend was downstairs using that bathroom. Luckily, he was pretty cool about finding a naked guy in his girlfriend bed and returned me to the right room. Grin. This is an XCE-lent TIFU. Or a TIFS. Tonight I fucked someone. Had something like this happen to me but I confused the stairwell for the bathroom. Basically woke up to a locked door in my boxers. Had to go outside and knock on windows to find the right room or someone to let me back in. Not fun. If you weren't so drunk then you would have remembered the room, or at least her name. But because you were drunk you were able to make it through the embarrassment. No wrong answer. Which girl did you marry? Today I fucked up by almost committing double manslaughter. Edit. Before you read, I'm getting a bit of hate for this story, so please take this warning before continuing to read. This is a unique TIFU. It's especially stupid because of the way I worded it. If you don't like really stupid humor, please continue browsing, else, welcome to my fuck up. So about a year ago I got my learner's permit, which means at the ripe old age of 16. I can drive a car as long as I don't use the radio and I'm driving with someone who has a full license in the passenger seat. Personally, I don't think that I should be allowed to drive because I feel like I haven't mentally aged past 14 and still stop in the middle of the sidewalk to look straight up at the sky whenever I hear an airplane or helicopter. I'm worried one day I'll do the same thing, but do it whilst driving a death machine at 100 km/h at peak hour traffic. So basically today I drove my dad to the salon to get his nails done. He actually just wanted to get some new jeans, but I'm just writing random crap to get past the stupid 750 character limit. We parked at the car park, which is a place where cars park, and left to get his nails done. Again, I'm sorry. I tried posting this story like twice already and a dumb bot who I bet's name would be Mark if it were alive told me that it's still too short. After he FaceTimed all of his friends to show them his cool new hot pink nails. He will kill me if he finds out I'm saying this. We walked to the car park and found two middle-aged women sitting down on the curb right in front of my brand new Lamborghini Veneno. I actually drive a Prius. Please don't judge, it's actually a good car to drive, I swear. I skipped my way to my Lambo and got in the driver's seat. After telling my dad his nails look fabulous for the 12th time, I decided enough was enough and put the gear in reverse to get out of there. Except, I thought I put it in reverse, but I actually put it in drive, and for about 1/10 of a second, I was reversing forward into these two lovely ladies. The shit that Usain bolted out of my pants could have filled exactly 13 shot glasses. After slamming the brakes, I had to sit there for a couple moments to gather what I had just done, calm down, and think of excuses for what that soon-to-be smell was and why the black seat was about to be, is now brown. What terrifies me more isn't the fact I almost ran them over. It was the fact that they looked the car right in its eyes and didn't even flinch after it almost hit them. The humongous testicles I bet these women posses threatens my way of life, my way of thought, and my pride. I really hope you enjoyed this unnecessarily long story that should have only been about 400 characters long. Have a nice day. Too long did not read. Almost ran into two goddesses, turned the black driver's seat brown, not in jail. Edit 2. No, I didn't actually shit my pants. Well, maybe just a little. Also, if you liked the story, don't comment you liked it because you will most likely get downvoted and possibly go in karma debt. Today I fucked up by sitting on a curb directly in front of a parked car. Then stayed there as two people entered the vehicle, the obvious teenager getting behind the wheel. Because we have worse situational awareness than an actual dead person, we nearly joined their ranks by being Ed Nortoned by a gas-sipping geek mobile. Well, are you doing to post pics of your dad's sexy manicure? In Iowa you get your permit at 14, then can drive to school by yourself at 14.5. 10 out of 10 storytelling op. Eloquently told. How fast were you going when you almost struck the goddesses? I'm 44 and still stop and stare at the sky when I hear planes and helicopters. Great story. 10 out of 10, would giggle again at, Usain bolted out of my pants. I bet those old ladies after had a conversation like this. Almost, Mabel, almost. Too much to hope for, I guess. When will this pain end? I just want to see Bert again. They're old ladies, they understand how one can confuse forward and reverse. Today I fucked up by giving a BJ. My class had been cancelled, so I was bored and horny. I decided to text this guy that I like to have fun with. It's kind of a fuck-hate relationship. Anyway, everything was going fine. I was sucking him off, tried eating his ass, but the hairs put me off a bit, so I went back to his dick. I was having a good time, he was having a good time. Then I see blood pouring out of his cock, getting on his clothes, my mouth, everywhere. The thing I forgot about was the fact I wear braces. His dick had somehow been sliced on the metal in my mouth. He came, and we both ran off to clean up. I went back to the library, a bit embarrassed but overall fairly happy. He then texted me saying that we should stop all of that and forget everything. TL. Doctor. Blowjob plus braces equals bloodbath. Now I have lost that guy and discovered I have a blood kink. Today I fucked up by reading this. Did you rub his dick across your teeth like a damn toothbrush? How did they cut him that bad? Man must have felt like his dick's in a shredder skull. I'm so confused. His penis was getting cut up by your braces but he was still able to cum? It didn't hurt enough to ruin the experience? Black & Decker Pecker Wrecker. This was very obviously written by someone who's never been involved in a blowjob. WTF did you do? I have braces and my husband and I do BJs pretty often. I've never torn his dick up. The worst that happened is I've torn my lips up, but I just can't understand how the braces rubbed against the penis. I think my dick just receded back into my pelvis in fear. Today I fucked up by telling my family that I'm volunteering to go to Ukraine. I considered all of the facts, and made the decision wholeheartedly. I am a 37-year-old male living in Philadelphia. I'm on the verge of homelessness, and various, but unconfirmed, reports are saying that the Ukrainian government is paying volunteers up to $2,000 a day. I'm not going because of the money or the glory, I'm doing it because it feels like the right thing to do. I was denied the opportunity to join the American military due to a slight but properly medicated mental illness. I have evaluated all of the options and I am completely fine with any outcome, even if I die. I will die if I become homeless, so I may as well go to Ukraine and make my sacrifice worth something. Despite all of this, my family has freaked the fuck out, even threatening to disown me if I go to Ukraine regardless of if I return home with enough money to buy a house and live somewhat independent. They rather vehemently support Russia for some reason, political bullshit, most likely. My family has been trying everything to stop me from doing this short of offering to actually help me out of the situation that actually made me decide to do this. If I go, I could make something of myself and even possibly get myself out of a bad situation. But being disowned by my family means that I lose all contact with them, even to the point where they would ignore any correspondence I would send regarding my safety while in Ukraine and after I return home. I lose the chance to claim death benefits when they pass on and I will be written out of everyone's will. They aren't even offering to store my belongings while I'm overseas. It's making me second-guess everything. Too long did not read. Applied to join the International Legion of Territorial Defense. Family will disown me if I go. Edit. After some consideration and conversations with concerned Redditors, I have decided to remain here in America. I do not have the financial resources to get to Ukraine and there's no telling what kind of opposition I might be facing when I get there. I most definitely do not want to become a chalk outline within an hour of crossing the border. I will most likely instead help out from here and quietly prepping in case we end up going to war on more fronts than just Ukraine. I appreciate the support of those who influenced my decision with positive criticism. Outright telling me that I'm dumb or insane was quite insensitive even to someone who's not in my position. I'm going to try my best to provide logistical support to various groups and agencies sending combat-ready volunteers to Ukraine. Possibly seek out some non-profits to desk jockey for so they can focus on getting people where they need to go. Call of Duty be damned, I did actually kinda want to shoot an AK-47, but I don't think I would be much help if I was out there taking up space that a much more qualified person should have. I wholeheartedly support anyone with the balls to go to the war zone and lend assistance. However, I now understand why that would be a bad idea for me. FYI, my family actually did support Russia's actions in Ukraine because they are rather obsessed with FMR. President Trump. Upon hearing that I would no longer be traveling to Ukraine, they have offered a small amount of support in hopes that I start blindly following their political agenda and stop trying to help the people in Ukraine. I'm considering pretending to go along with their wishes while still supporting and helping from this side of Ukraine and Europe. I pray that Putin doesn't start war with a third of the world. But in the event that he does, I will probably do what I can to help everyone affected. If this edit makes this no longer a TIFU, you may lock it. However, lending aid to people who help Ukraine is still against my family's wishes, so I do still face the same consequences even if I'm not going to Ukraine and shooting at the Russian soldiers. If anyone has any resources that I can use to help with the efforts to get other more qualified people into Ukraine, please message me. I will diligently do any paperwork and assist in any other small tasks that might need doing while other people are doing the more important work. Thank you. If you have no military experience, you're useless to Ukraine. There are tons of Ukrainians on waiting lists to join their territorial defense list. They don't need foreign volunteers unless they bring something to the table. This is real, not Call of Duty. No one is going to pay you $2,000. Afghanistan vet. I'm from Ukraine and haven't heard anything about $2K per day. But we'll recheck that. Also, as others have already mentioned, Even if this is true, it's most likely for experienced ex-military. I admire your desire to help the people of Ukraine. Do you have practical safe firearms handling skills plus advanced tactical firearms training, trauma, other medicine skills, or will you be a liability? Those are the two options. Ukraine does not need untrained help. They have that in their country already. They need skilled assistance. I'd advise against it. I feel like you're going to go there, you won't be of much help, will not get paid, will not get to defend against Russian aggression in any meaningful capacity, will struggle to find places to sleep, be lonely, get injured, get back injured. Lonely and with no better sense of self-worth, because you won't be able to do much there. I feel it's a much better idea to start small here. Focus on finding a job, a place to stay, and then help the organizations and people at home. Don't. Not because of what your family said, but because of the Ukrainian people. 1. If you are not properly military trained, you are a liability and not an asset. 2. Your reason sounds selfish and your comments suggest you will be out of your depths yet. I get hopelessness and the desperate need to do something, just something. But this is not it. You could endanger people who already have now problems on their plate with your behavior. This is not a "today I fucked up," because so far you didn't. But if you go, it will be, "tomorrow I fuck up, just don't." There is absolutely no chance you're going to get $2,000 a day or anywhere close to that. I'm not sure who is lying to you about a lot of this stuff. If you are unable to join the military because of mental illness, you absolutely should not be in a war zone or anywhere close. There is a reason why you were denied. Also, war is absolutely not close to sleeping on a cold ground or witnessing a drive-by. Hopefully you save up enough money for a flight back and they don't prevent you from leaving once you get there. I don't think you have any clue what you're signing up for or have factual information. This sounds like a roundabout way of suicide by cop, but instead by Russian. Don't do it. That well-managed mental illness isn't going to be reliably medicated and will get much worse. Just don't. While I think that anyone who is pro-Russia is a moron and probably dangerous, I also think this weird sense of American saviorism is ill-advised. You're pushing 40. Sleeping in the cold and on the ground in the country where you don't even speak the language seems like a miserable and lonely way to go. And if you truly want to help, there are ways to do that that won't get you shot or bombed. There are plenty of volunteer organizations here that will gladly take your time. This is not the solution you think it is. Also, Ukraine is having trouble supplying weapons to their own troops.